Hi everybody! So I almost skipped this week, but I'm making this video. So the first thing I guess I should talk about is what I said I would talk about as I finished my video last week, which was Hasedera Festival, or the Hase Matsuri, the festival in Hasedera. And it had value as an experience. It was definitely something you can't do anywhere else, but I am not entirely pleased with the fact that nobody informed me just how difficult it was going to be. Now, I don't expect people to sit me down and be like, Barbara, seriously, you should think about this twice. This is hard stuff. But literally, what I heard from other people was, and this is pretty much word from what somebody posted on Facebook, it has been one of my best experiences since coming to Japan, and I would recommend it to anyone, was pretty much what they said. And, I mean, well, the first part is definitely what they said, the second part is paraphrasing. So I was like, yeah, gonna get in on this. So I went on Saturday, and I got lost. I ended up going the wrong way on the train, and I was halfway to Osaka before I realized that I definitely was not on my way to Hasedera. But my phone, using the train schedule site, my phone kept insisting that I was only a few minutes away in the other direction, so I kept thinking I missed it. So I spent a lot of time, and basically I was almost 3 hours late. So I just kind of like walked around and watched them. By the time I got there, actually, they were carrying the big shrine down the steps from the temple after they had already carried it up. And it was pretty much just guys carrying it down. So I just watched, and they did some nonsense lifting it and hoshoi hoshoi shouting. And they put it down and rested for a while. And then they put it on wheels, and they pushed it up a hill. And then they took it down the hill. And actually I jumped in to help when they were pushing it, and it looked really funny because everybody else was wearing these special festival outfits, special little jackets. The guys were blue, and the girls were red, and we had like bandanas and everything, and a sash for what height you were. But of course, since I got there late, I wasn't wearing mine right then. So it literally looked like somebody had just walked by and decided, hey, that looks fun, I'm gonna jump in. Rather than the fact that I actually had signed up for this. And then during lunch break, I changed into my little uniform, and I went back and joined everybody and ate lunch. One of the best part about this thing is that they do take care of you in terms of sustenance. There were plentiful, large portions for our bentos, very nice bentos, which were free. We did not have to pay for them. And there was all-you-can-drink drinks, including beer. Now, I wasn't there, but apparently they kicked off the morning at 9 a.m. with a little cheers with sake. So, yeah. And that actually was one of the problems. So, the townspeople were there, and actually Saturday is not the big day. So there weren't that many townspeople. We Jets were doing a lot of the work carrying this very heavy, very large shrine, which also had 3 people in it, playing this giant drum, which is at the center. And so the problems really began when after lunch we carried it, and people had started getting pretty drunk. So there were a lot of people standing around, just kind of taking up space and not really carrying much of the weight. And by the end, a lot of the old men who were helping us out in the beginning had just sort of disappeared and were nowhere to be found. And I had been put on the shortest rung, which is weird because I'm like the exact same height as a lot of people as the next rung up. And every rung has its own difficulties, and every place has its own difficulties. The difficulty of the lowest rung is that you're the closest to the center of the mass, so there is no leeway or any give. It's just this constant weight and pressure. And being in the lowest rung, a lot of the girls were much shorter than me, so I couldn't stand up fully underneath the log. Eventually, I realized I had to move to the side, because on the side I could actually get under it comfortably and I could do it. Literally, the first time I tried to carry it under the log in the back, I almost cried because it just was so unbelievably difficult and so much harder than I could have imagined. So, yeah, and then I woke up the next morning and my foot hurt like Jesus, like it did a couple weeks ago, and so it's been feeling better. It doesn't hurt that bad, not as bad as it did before, but it's not perfect, so that's upsetting. So that was Hatsudere Matsuri. Not saying I wouldn't recommend it, I'm just saying that it is not a walk in the park. It had a lot of fun parts, it had a lot of perks, and afterward we went up to the temple and they gave us free sake and mochi and all this awesome stuff. It was great. There were a lot of really good experiences, but we really had to earn our keep. All that stuff that we got for free, I would say we earned it, because if the Jets hadn't been there, that shrine wouldn't have gotten very far. That they would have had to shorten the route, or I don't know what they would have done. Point is, we earned our keep. The other thing I really want to talk about is today we had my culture festival at my school. So it was my first time being at a real life culture festival, and I think mine is a little bit different because my school is so small. Actually, I don't know if this is the culture festival. The culture festival in Japanese is typically called bunkasai. The thing they were calling the thing today, they kept saying it was furiai matsuri, which is really, really different. So I'm thinking maybe we just don't have a bunkasai and instead we have this thing called furiai matsuri. Don't know the translation of that, do not know what furiai means. And I didn't ask. Basically though, all the parents and anybody in the community can come in, entrance is free, and the kids just do all these different things. They did, so my middle schoolers did Snow White, the elementary school kids did some cute little play about animals, some of the elementary school girls did a dance from AKB48, and we'll talk about that more later. My middle school kids all did a dance from Exile, was awesome, probably talk about that a little bit more if I have time. And a bunch of different musical performances. So it was really cool. And then there were food stands in the back for around lunchtime. And that caused me personally some confusion. But it was really awesome, it was really cool, and the only thing I had to do was manage the lights, so it was cool. And it was a really good, positive experience. I didn't even mind that I was working on a Saturday, it was just not a big deal. And I have Monday off, so whatever. So now I want to talk about my girls who did the AKB48 dance. First, I want to say that all my kids are adorable. I might have a small quantity of children, but the quality of adorability of these kids is aces. I don't have any ugly kids, I only have cute kids. But the girls who did the AKB48 dance were super cute. They were like mini idols. And one of the moms even handmade some costumes for them. There were these red plaid dresses with little black tulle, and for one of the dances they had a little mini top hat. They were so adorable. And one girl in particular, this girl is so freaking adorable. She's like a little doll. You just feel like she should be a cake decoration or something. So, and they were so good. I mean, there was one girl who's less confident. There always is. But even the less confident one, she did everything just fine. She never messed up. She just, you could see she was watching the other girls. So I was super impressed. I couldn't do that no matter how much I practiced. And there are these little 6th grade girls just kicking it, just killing it. So I was impressed. I was in awe. They were so cute. And then my middle school kids, when they did their dance, they were so cool. It's, the band Exile is really popular in Japan right now. It's a boy band. And, they're a little more on, like, the cool side, though, as opposed to, like, a really cutesy boy band. Which, yes, that's definitely a thing, the sort of, like, pretty boy band. This is, like, a cool boy band. Like, they have facial hair and stuff. So, they did that dance. For the middle schoolers, I suspect one of the reasons for choosing a boy band dance for everyone to do is it's not going to be sexual. And everyone can do it and feel comfortable. So it can be a whole group activity. Because when you only have 10 kids, it doesn't really make much sense to split them up. And they did so well. I've heard that music practicing. Actually, I've been trying to kind of keep myself away from it, so it was more of a surprise. And my first time seeing it was actually earlier this week. And since it was just practice, they didn't go all in. It was still really impressive. But then watching it today, it was so great with the lights and the costumes and everything. They had, the boys had black tank tops under a white button-up that was open. And on it said in gold spray paint, it said Kami X, Kami X Town, I think? So, because we're Kamikitayama Mura, Kamikitayama Village. So it was like Comics Town. It was really cute. And they had a thing of gold sequins that was loosely attached, so it sort of swung around and looked like a chain while they were dancing. And also one around the bottom, so it looked kind of like a belt. And the girls had on t-shirts underneath instead of tank tops for modesty's sakes. And they were awesome. They were perfect. And then I was managing the general lights. So as I was saying before my battery ran out, I was in charge of the house lights. So during just that one dance for my middle schoolers, we switched positions amongst the staff members. So I wanted to watch it, so I was running in and out to make sure the lights were off at the correct time. Should have been pretty straightforward, except for that after the dance, the crowd started calling for an encore, and I'm like, they're not going to do an encore. They know one dance, and it's really strenuous. So I just went outside and I turned the lights back on. Then one of the other teachers comes running, and he's like, no, encore. And I'm like, really? Encore? So I turned the lights back off, and I go out, and the kids just did the dance again. Which props them, because like I said, it is a pretty strenuous dance. And they didn't, they didn't cut any corners. They did it all the way, so. They did do it without their outer white shirts on. So, yeah. And, yeah, basically, moral of that story, my kids are cool. And they can do things that I can't, including dance and speak Japanese. I'm actually nearing the end of my time, but that's fine, because that's pretty much most of what I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to cover those two topics. And just so I have a little of me news in there, some thoughts I've had. I need to buy a basically winter jacket that I can wear in the classroom, because I was standing in my classroom really cold and realizing that I don't have anything warmer to wear in the classroom, and this is not as cold as it's gonna get. This is only October. Just wait till February comes. I don't know what I'm gonna do, because we don't have any heating. Now, admittedly, right now, they are leaving some of the windows open, and they won't do that in February, I hope. If they do, I'll close them myself. I don't care. That is not happening. But